In Revelation 1, John starts out with an introduction in verses 1 to 3. Then in verse 4, he starts out with another introduction, this time like a typical first century letter, naming the author and the people to whom the letter was written. It says, John, to the 7 churches in the province of Asia, grace and peace to you. John is writing to 7 churches in the province of Asia. They were probably not the only churches in Asia at the time, but John has 7 in mind, and they are mentioned in chapters 2 and 3. 7 is an important number in this book, a symbolic number, suggesting something like completeness. These 7 churches represent all the churches, not only in the province of Asia, but all around the world. The challenges those 7 churches faced were not unique to them. These challenges were found and are still found in churches around the world. So John greets them with grace and peace. This is similar to the way that Paul greeted his churches in his letters, and it's possible that John learned it from Paul. It takes the ordinary Greek greeting, charein, and changes it to a Christian greeting, charis, meaning grace. And it adds the traditional Hebrew greeting, shalom in Hebrew, irene in Greek, meaning peace. John is a person living in a Christo-Judeo-Greco-Roman culture, and he draws his words from all these cultures. Now, these greetings are not just from himself. He says that they are from him who is and who was and who is to come, and from the 7 spirits before his throne, and from Jesus Christ, who is the faithful witness, the firstborn from the dead, and the ruler of the kings of the earth. It's a Trinitarian greeting from Father, Spirit, and Son. John uses language from Exodus 3 to describe the Father as the one who is. Exodus 3 says, I am who I am. Or the Hebrew could also be rendered, I will be who I will be. God transcends time. He has always been and will always be. Now, what about those 7 spirits? It would be really odd if John mentioned some otherwise unknown angelic beings in between the Father and the Son. That's just not the right protocol for greetings. And John elsewhere exalts Jesus to the highest levels of heaven, higher than any angels. But we see here the symbolic number 7 again, and John seems to be adapting this from Isaiah 11. Which says in the old Greek translation commonly used in the early church, and a rod shall come out of the root of Jesse, and a blossom shall come up out of his root, and the Spirit of God shall rest on him, the Spirit of wisdom and understanding, the Spirit of counsel and might, the Spirit of knowledge and godliness. And 7, the Spirit of the fear of God will fill him. Zechariah 4 also connects the number 7 with the Spirit of God. Zechariah sees 7 lamps, and the angel explains them, not by human power or might, but by the Spirit of God. So there's an association of the number 7 with God's Spirit. John then gives greetings from Jesus Christ, and he gives them 3 titles: the faithful witness, the firstborn from the dead, and the ruler of the kings of the earth. All 3 of these speak to the situation of John's readers. They were being persecuted for their faith, and John wants them to be faithful witnesses like Jesus was. Then John reminds his readers that Jesus not only rose from the dead, but also that he is the firstborn from the dead. He's the first, but not the only. Many others will follow. When people face persecution, they need to know that Jesus will raise them up again so that they will be with him forever. The book will say more about that. And last, John says that Jesus is the ruler of the kings of the earth. although it might look like Rome had all the power at the time, that was only temporary. Jesus has all power, and in time, he will use it to reward those who are faithful witnesses. Jesus is still the same for us. He still wants us to be faithful witnesses, looking to him as the rightful ruler and the one who holds our future in his hands. Let us today be encouraged and emboldened by who he is. Grace and peace from Father, Spirit, and Son.